All right, let's talk about something we've all been told is a no-brainer for health. Omega-3s. Fish oil. Good for the heart, right? But what if that's not the whole story? What if the advice we've been following is not just wrong, but could actually be, well, dangerous? Today, we are diving headfirst into the omega-3 paradox. We're going to explore the shocking idea that your supplements might be doing the exact opposite of what you want them to. So, let's just get right to it. Let's put the big question on the table. If you were one of the millions of us popping a fish oil pill every single day, you believe you're doing something great for your body. But the answer to this question, it is way more complicated than you think. And it's the central mystery we're going to unravel together in this explainer. Okay, first things first, let's talk about the promise. The reason omega-3s became this massive health superstar. We've got to understand the good part of the story before we can really, truly grasp the unexpected danger lurking behind it.
And listen, the promise is seriously compelling. The data looks crystal clear. Higher levels of omega-3s in the body are linked to some pretty incredible things. I mean, look at this, an 8% drop in your risk of dying from any cause, larger brain volumes, and even a lower chance of having a sudden, really serious heart event like a heart attack. This is why we all ran out and bought fish oil. It seems so obvious, right?
Well, you knew there was a but coming. And this is where the entire story just takes a massive plot twist. While everybody was focused on all these amazing benefits, some brand new research from major clinical trials started to uncover something that, honestly, nobody saw coming. And here's where it gets wild. Researchers found that taking omega-3 supplements was actually linked to an increased risk of atrial fibrillation, or AFib. That's a really serious type of irregular heartbeat. And just look at the doses here. Taking more than 1 gram a day was associated with a nearly 50% higher risk. Just let that sink in. The very thing people were taking to help their hearts was linked to a totally new heart problem. So this obviously leads to a gigantic question. If just piling on more omega-3s isn't the magic bullet and could even be a problem, then what is really behind the chronic inflammation that we're all trying to get rid of? Turns out, the answer isn't about adding more of a good thing. It's about a fundamental imbalance that's already wreaking havoc in our bodies. You see, this question changes the entire game. For years, we've been trying to fight inflammation by pouring more anti-inflammatory omega-3s on the fire. But what if the real problem isn't the size of our fire department? What if the problem is that our diet is constantly pouring gasoline on the flames? Okay, now this chart looks a little intense, but the idea behind it is actually super simple. Think of it like this. Your body has 2 assembly lines that are forced to share the exact same machinery. Over on the left, you've got the omega-3 line. It takes foods like fish and flax and makes compounds that cool down inflammation. They're your body's firefighters. Then, on the right, you've got the omega-6 line. It takes things like industrial seed oils and makes compounds that start fires. They're pro-inflammatory. And since they have to compete for the same equipment, if you're flooding your body with omega-6s, that line just completely takes over. It hogs all the machinery, and you end up producing way, way more inflammatory stuff. It's all about the ratio of what you put in at the start. And here is what that tug of war looks like on your plate. Our modern Western diet is absolutely drenched in pro-inflammatory omega-6s. We're talking cheap vegetable oils, a lot of animal fat, and dairy. Meanwhile, the good stuff, the anti-inflammatory omega-3s from things like cold water fish and walnuts, they're pretty rare. So taking an omega-3 pill is kind of like sending one person to help in a tug of war against an entire football team. You're just not fixing the real imbalance of power. To solve a problem like this, you can't just keep treating the symptom, which in this case is the inflammation. You have to go deeper and address the underlying system that's gone haywire. And this requires a totally different way of thinking. It's really the core philosophy of functional medicine. I love this quote. It just nails the entire approach. Look, the data on omega-3s and omega-6s, it's not brand new, but functional medicine looks at all that same information and asks a fundamentally different question. Instead of asking, what pill can we add to patch this problem, it asks, how do we fix the system that's out of balance in the first place? And to really get this, let's use a perfect analogy: cholesterol. For decades, right, the advice has just been to lower your total LDL, the so-called bad cholesterol number. But it turns out that's only half the story. Not even. Okay, look at this. This is fascinating. You've got 2 people with the exact same LDL cholesterol number on their lab report. A standard test would say their heart disease risk is identical, but it's not even close.
The person on the left has big, fluffy, almost harmless particles, but the person on the right has these small, dense, angry little particles that are much, much more dangerous. Same number, totally different reality. This is the exact same principle we need to apply here. It's not just about adding more omega-3s, it's about the quality and the balance of the entire system. So the big takeaway here is that context is everything. With cholesterol, the quality, the size of those particles, is just as critical as the quantity. The same exact thing is true for fatty acids. Just blindly shoveling in more omega-3 quantity isn't the solution if the quality of your entire system, that crucial ratio to omega-6, is completely broken. So how do we actually do this? How do we apply this deeper way of thinking to fix our fatty acid balance for good? Well, it's time to stop talking philosophy and start talking about a real, actionable, food-based solution.
The approach is actually super simple and logical when you break it down. Step 1, you identify the root cause. In this case, that's the out-of-whack fatty acid ratio. Step 2, you understand how the system actually works. Remember those competing assembly lines. And finally, step 3, you create a personalized plan to bring everything back into balance. And that plan, that solution, it's not another pill. It's about fundamentally changing the inputs to the whole system. And the best tool for that job is a food-first strategy, specifically one called the cardiometabolic food plan. All right, let's take a peek under the hood of this plan. It is specifically designed to fix that ratio we've been talking about. So you see here, in the protein section, it's all about prioritizing things like wild-caught fish. And then in nuts and seeds, boom, flax and walnuts are highlighted. Why? Because they're packed with omega-3s. And at the same time, over in fats and oils, it steers you away from all those processed junk oils that are loaded with inflammatory omega-6s. You see? It's a real strategy, not just a random list of good and bad foods. And it's so much more than just fats. The entire plan is built on this amazing foundation of colorful, nutrient-packed foods. We're talking about phytonutrients here, which are these incredible protective compounds in plants that help your body fight inflammation naturally. I mean, just look at the sheer variety of vegetables and fruits on this list. This isn't about feeling deprived. It's about flooding your body with all the good stuff it needs to heal itself. So you might be thinking, okay, this sounds great, but where on earth do I start? Well, the cardiometabolic plan is an amazing tool, but the foundation for everyone is actually even simpler. It's called the core food plan. This right here is your starting line. The core food plan is basically the blueprint for healthy eating. It's designed to give you a much healthier balance of fats, proteins, and carbs naturally just from the food you eat. It's all about building a really strong foundation so you're not constantly trying to use a pill to patch up a broken system. And if you want to check it out, we'll make sure to link to it for you. And that really brings us to the final, crucial question. A question for you. Are you just treating symptoms, or are you actually fixing the system? A fish oil pill might feel like a quick fix, like you're doing something about inflammation. But a food-first plan that rebalances your entire fatty acid system, that is what leads to real, lasting health. Thanks for tuning in.